Welcome back, my lovely, lovely listeners. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. Just wanted to pop in and say that today's video is My Hotel Has a 13th Floor Part 3 by Dustin Bragg. This part of the story has a little more interactive content, some images, a video, and a text conversation that will be read out in the story as well. I'll try to say something to indicate that there's a picture on the screen without cutting out of the character. I don't want to do that. Just know that there are some images that are also associated with this, and they'll be on the screen when they come up. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe for more content, and to be notified on the rest of this series, because this is part 3 of 8. So yeah, just enjoy. So, Shannon quit. I guess our resident rabbit freaked her out more than I realized. Oh well, guess I'll be training someone new next week. That means when I came into work tonight, I was greeted by my overly sleepy-looking GM, Mandy. We get along fine, partly because we see each other so infrequently, and partly because she's always so out of it. I expected that Roger would have told her about the incident 2 nights ago, but apparently he's keeping the event tight-lipped. Tight, mustachioed, lipped. Mandy has only been in charge for a couple of years, having taken over for our previous GM after... I actually have no idea what happened to him. Anyway, she flipped her hand up in a half-assed wave and dragged herself from the stool. "Slow night," was all she said as she passed me, making a line for the door. "Okay," I said in response. That was that. So most of you guys think that I should check out the audit boxes, an idea that I'm quite weary of the more I think about it. I thought you guys were all concerned for my safety. I'm kidding, of course. I know you care. Truth be told, I was going to have to go up there tonight anyways. It's the last day of the month, and it's my job to get January's box upstairs once the audit is over tonight. It'll be around 4 in the morning though, and since there was no bunny man creeping around tonight, I have plenty of time to tell you about the vending machine. As a note, I would like to point out that the vending machine is the only anomaly here that has actually physically harmed me 2 years ago, but I'll get there. The vending machine is located on the first floor at the end of the hallway, in a small alcove across from the stairs. It's been here since before I got the job, and much like the Bunny Man, no one really knows where it came from. It doesn't belong with the other machines we have, as the vendor we use to refill our regular snack and drink boxes also seemed confused about the thing's origin. In addition, the fact that most vending machines we have are covered in the big brand labels, this one just has a red casing with embossed letters across the front that simply read, "Vending." What's more interesting is the 6 buttons on the panel. They read from top to bottom: Pank Mellow, Pinga, Juice, Lightning Nail Bull, Cope and Pepsi, yeah, and question mark, question mark, question mark. The machine is unplugged and plastered with out of order signs. We tried removing it a few times by moving it to the 3rd floor storage. It's proven impossible, as the thing cannot be lifted from the floor, even using a dolly. Being unplugged doesn't seem to bother it in the least, as the light inside never goes out, and despite the labels on the buttons, you never get what you asked for. Now, I can guess what you're thinking. Why the hell would anyone use that? And yeah, in hindsight, no one ever should. Thing is, sometimes, something awesome comes out. The first time I used it was about a month after I started working here. I got a package of chips for my lunch, and curiously wanted to try a Pinga. I can't tell you why, it just seemed like the right thing to do. I pumped $1 in and hit the button. A $100 bill dropped into the receptacle. Hell yeah, right? So I do what any person would do. Stuck another $1 into the slot and slapped that Pinga button. Dead cat. Not so groovy. I panicked a bit, ran back to the laundry room where our latex gloves are stored, put a pair on, and grabbed a trash bag. I loaded the stiff cat into the bag and hurled it into the dumpster in the back parking lot. I don't have a good reason for going back to the machine. Maybe it was the 100 in my pocket. It was probably the 100. So I popped another bill in and opted for the mystery option. Out popped a Pepsi, along with 3 pieces of cereal. I don't want to admit this to you guys because it's going to seem gross, but I drank the Pepsi. It was incredible. It tasted like heaven. The beverage perked me up and mellowed me out at the same time, giving me a sort of high. More importantly though, I found that all of my work for the night had been completed. The floors were mopped, laundry was folded, even the fucking glass door had been cleaned. I spent years chasing another Pepsi, but I never got one. I once got a cope, which had the opposite effect. I felt like hell, kept finding things that added to my workload throughout the night, and I swear that I had to work from 2 a.m. through 3 a.m. twice. Most of the time, I didn't get a drink at all, unless you count the time I got a sealed cup of urine that had been, I assume, a drug test for someone named Kennedy Dieter. I didn't drink that, don't worry. No, most often I got random odds and ends. An apple, pre-cooked bacon slices, a sock, a USB drive, empty, things like that. What I got 2 years ago was the last straw for me. I had put in my dollar, but nothing fell down. I put my hand in to feel around, thinking it may have been something small. When suddenly, what looked like a booted foot shot down with such force that I'm sure that's what broke my fingers. The next 2 rapid stomps damaged my hand further before I was able to pull it free. That's one of the only times I've had to leave work early being taken to the hospital. Here's what it looked like. It was a pretty bad break, and I had to be in a cast for a few months. 3 surgeries later, and my hand is now back to normal, as you can see. Well, mostly normal. Hold on, I think I hear the chute. I'm gonna see if I can get a video for you guys. Well, it looks like a note. I don't normally mess with things that come down the chute, but with the way things have been going, I was right. It was a note urging me again to check the audit boxes. Here's a picture of it for you guys. Whichever one of you told me that the Bunny Man may have something to do with the 13th floor, I think you're right. You know what? Screw it. I'm going up there now. I'm not going to wait until after the audit. At first, I didn't find a single thing suspicious. Just the last 2 years of audit boxes stacked against the wall. I did notice something, though. As I was turning to leave, I scrambled to pull a pen from my pocket and wrote the following on my palm. October 2017. It's not my handwriting. These fucking boxes are not in my handwriting. I have been here since way before 2017, and I wrote the dates on all of the boxes. I furiously began taking the tops off the boxes. The envelopes were inside, but they were all light. I undid the clasp on one to find it completely empty. This didn't make sense. I made sure to put everything back so as to not arouse suspicion from whoever it is that's replacing these things. I got into the 2017 boxes, more of the same. That is until I got to the box labeled May. Inside every folder was dated 5/15/17. Every one of them. I opened one of the 5/15 folders to find that inside was a single notebook page with Leah Harper written in repeat on each line, front and back. I slipped the page back into the envelope, then I froze. I heard the door lock. I grabbed the handle and shook it, my heart pounding out of my chest. Wait, what are you doing, dumbass? The lock is on the inside, I thought to myself, unlocking the door. I opened it, and my heart dropped. I was no longer on the second floor, I saw, as I was greeted by a poorly lit hallway, the 13th. I was about to bolt to the elevator when something struck me. First, this is not the way you get to the 13th floor. Second, the light in the storage room to my back was flickering. I turned to see that there was a TV in this version of the room, and my old buddy, the Conan puppet, was staring back at me with his lifeless grin. He moved his lipless mouth, but no sound came out. His eyes slid to one side, then back to me, then back to the side. I glanced in the same direction that he was, and saw the stacks of audit boxes. Still not my handwriting, but not the fake handwriting either. The dreamy loops and bubbly letters told me that a female had written these dates, and that's when I saw that they were quite a bit older than the ones I had seen moments earlier, in the normal version of the storage closet. January 2009 through December 2010, all in the same pretty lettering. The puppet on the screen was silently flapping its mouth, and then I remembered something. Hey, have you ever, considered a career in, comedy? I asked shakily, because maybe your jokes would be killer, I finished flatly. The puppet raised his eyebrows and let his jaw dangle, swaying softly like a pendulum. I don't know how, but his beady little eyes were conveying his message perfectly. What the fuck is wrong with you? They said wordlessly. I returned my attention to the boxes, scanning for the one marked May, only to find that there were 2 of them, 2009 and 2010. 8 years ago, I thought to myself, and counted backwards on my fingers. yeah, math isn't my strong point. 8 years ago would be 2011, but Roger was probably still stuck in the habit of last year, so I assumed 2010 was close enough. I tugged the box free from the stack, collapsing the tower. I turned to run again, carrying the awkward thing, but was stopped by a figure in the doorway. She was far more ghastly than when I had seen her downstairs, but I recognized her as Leah. Her corpse was much more decrepit than the fresh-looking bod that had come down the chute. Her flesh was rotten and her lips shriveled. Her eyes were just gone, but the pitch-black sockets were definitely watching me. Leah made no attempt for me. Instead, she stepped into the room with me. Her head pivoted to maintain, eye contact? Eye to socket, I guess. She never stepped closer to me. I sidled along the wall until we had essentially swapped places. Her in the room, me in the doorway. I caught a glimpse of the puppet hysterically laughing in his silence, his eyebrows rising and falling. "I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy!" came an extremely loud, shrieking, singing voice to my right. I turned my head to see an exceptionally obese bald man barreling toward me. He was naked except for what looked to me like an adult diaper. His speed did not match his size at all, and I braced myself for the impact. That would no doubt launch me into the wall behind me, causing great bodily injury. "A Yankee Doodle do or die!" he wailed, turning on a dime a few feet before he would have struck me, and running smack into one of the doors lining the hallway, tearing it clean off its hinges. I raced toward the elevator, wanting no more surprises. I threw a glance into the room the bulbous man had forced his way into, only to see his diaper-covered ass sticking out at me through the window, disappearing as he fell into oblivion. The puppet on TV, that I've apparently nicknamed Conan, was still cackling silently at me. I made it to the elevator, which displayed an out-of-order sign. Of course, I tried the down arrow anyways, but was terrified when it didn't light up. I tried again and again, but still no light. And then it hit me. Just as I pulled the door open to the laundry chute, I felt a hand on the back of my neck. I was yanked backward onto my ass, losing my grip on the box. The cold hand that had grabbed me belonged to the long-dead Leah, who was still staring straight into my soul. Her mouth hung open, not unlike Conan's, but unlike his noiseless mouth, she let out a terrible wet-sounding gurgle from her unhinged jaw. I saw dirt pour from her mouth as she made choking sounds. She then proceeded to climb into the chute and slide her entire body into it with a type of indescribable grace. The elevator dinged, and I wasted absolutely no time grabbing the box and getting to it. It felt like ages waiting for the door to shut, but they finally did. The descent took just as long as it had the last time that I made this trip, and, like before, it opened into my familiar lobby. I nervously glanced at the opening of the chute as I sat the box in the back office, fully expecting to see the zombie version of Leah, but to my relief, there was nothing. I'm gonna take a break and recover. I'll be back in a few. So I'm back, still a little unnerved, but whatever. The audit box that I'd fought so hard to get disappeared about 30 minutes ago, unfortunately. To counter that, though, I did get a chance to dig around in it. Obviously, I checked the one marked 51510 first. Everything inside was gibberish, a horrible mix of jumbled letters and numbers and shapes randomly splattered across each page. There was one page, however, that I recognized. It was the auditor's report, and I could read a name. For privacy's sake, I'll only give you the first, Taylor. Even better news, I found a girl named Taylor who is currently a night auditor one town over on social media. I'm gonna send her a message, but that's where I'm leaving off tonight. I've had enough excitement for one day. Just a really quick update. I went to check the cameras out to see if there was footage of me on the second floor. The camera that picks up that door is glitched, as you can see here, and more disturbingly, the one showing the stairwell looks totally distorted. Also, hey, Taylor got back to me pretty quickly. She's definitely a night auditor, and we had a brief but nonetheless interesting conversation. Hey, I know this is weird and out of nowhere, but are you the Taylor that worked at between 2009 and 2011?
Right, Taylor, but do we know each other?
We do not. I actually work the audit over here now, and I found your name on an old audit box. Some weird stuff has been going on, and I was wondering if anything similar happened when you were here, or if you remember a girl named Leah.
Stop. Don't talk about it here, it's not safe. Have you seen the bodies in the pool yet? No, don't answer. Meet in person tomorrow at 3 on.
Okay. 3 p.m. Why is it not safe?
It knows when it's being talked about. Just don't message anymore. Talk tomorrow. 3 p.m.
Basically, she wants to meet me in person tomorrow. I'm gonna take the day off so that I can. Anyway, I'll update you guys and gals as soon as I have some news. Well, there you go, my dear listeners. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I love this story so far. Again, this is part 3 of 8, and this is by the wonderful Dustin Bragg. He does have a novel. I have linked it down in the description. Please, please check out his stuff. He is a fantastic writer. He deserves all the love in the world for this. I am beyond grateful to be able to read this for him, and I really do love his work, so please check him out again, like I said. Also, one more thing, I do want to say thank you to the lovely Patience, my other half, for voicing Taylor. She's probably going to do more voices for me every once in a while. It's just easier to have a female read female lines, because it kind of feels weird for me to do so, since I'm not female. That all said, down in the description you'll find links to my subreddit, my Twitter, my Facebook, and links to Dustin Bragg's page, as well as the link for you to submit your own stories if you have them. Please do consider doing so. I would love to read your guys' stuff on the channel. If you really liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe for the rest of this, because more is coming. Trust me, more is coming. I promise. And if you want, you can also leave me a comment. You know, I'd love to hear from you guys. Love to talk to you. That all said, my lovely listeners, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you on the next video. But until then, sleep well. I'm a Yankee Doodle Day.